Accounting is the process of identifying, recording, classifying, and communicating financial information for decision-making purpose. It is often called the language of business because it converts business transactions into meaningful financial reports. Accounting helps organizations monitor performance, evaluate their financial position, and enables stakeholders to make informed business decisions.
My name is Anis Akila Bagisrifli. My matric number is A25BE0155. This is a background company that we choose is IOI Properties. It's a Malaysian company that builds and invests in property and with project in Malaysia, Singapore and China. Sunway Berhad is a comparison company. It's a bigger company that works in many areas like property, healthcare, education and construction. Sunway is more diverse while IOI Properties more on property and has steady performance.
Now, I will explain about the main objective. The first objective is to evaluate the profitability performance of IOI Properties Group Berhad using profitability ratios such as gross profit margin, net profit margin, and return on equity. The second objective is to compare the financial performance of IOI Properties Group Berhad with Sunway Berhad using the same financial ratios. And the final objective is to provide an overall assessment of the company's financial performance and financial position over the 5 years period. In summary, this objective help us evaluate the financial strength, performance and competitiveness of IOI Properties Berhad. Next, I will present the gross profit margin comparison between IOI Properties and Sunway Berhad from 2021 to 2025. Gross profit margin shows how much a profit company earns after deducting the cost of sales. Based on the graph, IOI Properties recorded a higher gross profit margin than Sunway Berhad throughout the 5 years. Although the margin decreased in 2024, it improved again in 2025 while Sunway Berhad remained relatively stable. In conclusion, IOI Properties performed better in gross profit margin, showing stronger profitability and cost control. Now let's look at the net profit margin. IOI Properties shows strong improvement from 2023 to 2024 and maintained a higher margin than Sunway Berhad in most years. Sunway Berhad had a very high margin in 2021, but it declined significantly afterward. This indicates that IOI Properties was more efficient in converting revenue into net profit. Next, I will discuss the return of equity or ROE. Sunway Berhad recorded a higher ROE in most years, showing better returns to shareholders. However, IOI Properties improved its ROE and performed slightly better in 2024. Overall, Sunway Berhad shows stronger performance in generating returns from shareholders' equity.
IOI Properties Group Berhad showed a stronger but less stable current ratio, increasing from 0.47 in 2022 to 4.95 in 2024. Meanwhile, Sunway Berhad maintained a more stable ratio between 1.0 and 1.3, showing consistent liquidity and better short-term financial stability. For the quick ratio, IOI Properties Group Berhad recorded a higher but more fluctuating ratio, increasing from 0.26 in 2022 to 4.06 in 2024. In comparison, Sunway Berhad maintained a stable ratio between 0.6 and 0.9, showing consistent liquidity management and a steady ability to meet short-term obligations.
Based on the analysis, Sunway Berhad performed better in asset turnover ratio, showing higher efficiency in using assets to generate revenue. IOI Properties Group Berhad improved in inventory day ratio and has a more stable payable day ratio, showing better inventory and payment management. Overall, Sunway is stronger in asset efficiency, while IOI performed better in inventory and payable control. On the analysis, Sunway Berhad shows more stable working capital management compared to IOI Properties Group Berhad. Sunway is more consistent in collecting receivable and managing short-term finance. In contrast, IOI shows more inconsistency in performance. Overall, Sunway demonstrates better financial stability and efficiency.
Moving on to section 4.4, capital structure ratio. To evaluate our capital structure, we conducted a comparative analysis of both the debt to equity ratio and the gearing ratio for IOI Properties and Sunway Berhad from 2021 to 2025. First, looking at the debt to equity ratio, there is a huge difference. IOI Properties heavily used an aggressive debt strategy. Their ratio increased sharply from 55.80% in 2021 to 81.59% in 2022 and remained steady around 79% range until 2025. This means that for every ringgit of equity, IOI kept nearly 80 cents of debt. On the other hand, Sunway Berhad maintained a much lower structure, dropping to a low 22.84 in 2022 before slowly rising to finish at 36.31 in 2025. This high debt trend by IOI is also proven by the gearing ratio analysis. IOI Properties consistently maintain a higher debt profile, jumping from 35.83% in 2021 to 44.93 in 2022, stayed constant around 44% until 2025. In contrast, Sunway Berhad showed a lower leverage structure, decreasing to 18.59% in 2022 before finishing at 26.63% in 2025. Ultimately, this comparison showed that while both groups increased their debt in the later years for expansion, IOI Properties Berhad used a lot more debt in their capital mix, which brings higher financial risk. Meanwhile, Sunway Berhad relies more on its equity base, maintaining a lower financial risk exposure.